Welcome. It's day 4. Our 5-day challenge is going on right now in the Facebook group. We are talking about green card interview mastery. So come on in. Let's get started on today's topic. I hope you've been enjoying the past 3 days where we've discussed how to increase your chances of success with your green card application, especially now in 2025 where things are much more stricter. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me in the Facebook group. We're live for day 4. Thank you for waiting in the waiting rooms, and thank you for those of you who joined us last night in the VIP session. It was quite an eye-opening time. I got to speak to someone who has an interview coming up, and I hope you're here today, Raynor, because he was freaking out about the fact that he had overstayed, and now his interview is coming up. How am I going to answer questions about that? So today, we're going to dive into some tips to help you get prepared for your green card interview. Okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Attorney Ify. For those of you just seeing me for the first time, I'm going to be a host for the next 35 or 45 minutes. And during that time, you're going to learn how to get the best results with your green card application. Yesterday, we learned how to prepare your application the right way to increase the chance of approval, because this training is all about green card success. So we don't want you to spend all that time, all that effort, and not get the best results. Let me know if you can hear me in the comments in the Facebook group. I see a lot of you joining. Invite your friends, because today's topic is probably the most important out of all the other steps, because if you do everything right from the beginning, if you're following our easy method, which I'm going to show you here, you already know that the final step is key to your success. If you went through examining your records and you had the right documents, you put it together in the right order, and you submitted those documents, and you get called for an interview and you don't answer correctly, there's going to be problems. So join me tonight for our VIP session where I'll be talking to you more in depth about some questions that you would expect during your green card interview. Today, we're going to focus on how to prepare, some red flags you should be aware of before you get in there, especially if you are just joining our group right now and you didn't follow the easy method to when you started, right? You're going to have to start now to request your immigration history and try to prevent any potential red flags that will lead to a denial, okay? All right, so there's the easy method for you. For those of you just joining for the first time today, the E stands for examine your past records. Very important step. A stands for assemble key documents. We had 2 days of that particular part of the method because a lot of questions were coming up with document type. That's really one of the most frequently asked questions we get, just because people are not sure about their own specific situation. If you're looking on TikTok or YouTube, just watching random videos from different attorneys, you're not really sure which one applies to you. Most of the time when we're talking, we're just giving you general guidance. And I'm glad you're here in this training today to learn a lot more about what it takes to be prepared for your green card interview. Okay. Thanks for being here. I see you all joining now. And some of you are new. Samantha, how you doing? Thanks for being here. All right, so once you assemble the key documents and you sign and you verify, it's definitely going to yield positive results. And that's what we're talking about today, how to yield those results. And why this matters, you all already know you expect to live in the US permanently with your family. So it's important that you get approved so you can have the best quality of life. Otherwise, what's the point of it all, right? So that's why this matters. Okay. I'm looking in the comments. Let me refresh this over here. But I don't see the comments. Oh, I see it now. Okay, the VIP session is at 5:30, just to clarify. It says 7:30 here, but it is at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. So click on the link I'm going to share in the comments so you can join me on Zoom. It's going to be more intimate for those people who are getting closer to their interviews, who need specific guidance. You can talk to me in that session. Today, we're just going to go through some of the stuff I've prepared here for you for the training so you can get prepared, get those documents you need together. Because if you missed out on the step 2 and you didn't assemble key documents, you still have a chance during your interview to submit those missing documents, because missing documents, inconsistent answers are some of the main reasons why people get denied at the interview stage. Okay, so to avoid that, make sure that you are prepared. And you being here right now lets me know that you're prepared. So I'm excited for you. Sophia, you got approved. Congrats. Let us know a little bit more about how that happened. Did you have a green card interview? Let me know. Awesome, awesome. Watching from PH. Welcome to the group. Okay, so let's see what else we got going on here. And if you didn't get a chance to have the workbook or the guide, I know a lot of you on TikTok have been asking for the guide. Well, you actually need to join the group because the guide is in the Facebook group. A lot of the training materials is in the Facebook group. So join the Facebook group and you get access to all those resources that will help you feel confident before the day, okay? In the past few weeks, I've attended at least 2 interviews with my clients. And one thing that's happening right now is that the officers are getting very strict with the requirements. Okay, they're digging into your history and asking questions that you may not think will be relevant anymore. But now there's that need to know if an immigrant is admissible, because if you're not admissible, you're just going to get placed in removal proceedings, and that's just your denial right there. Okay, in the past, they'll likely let you file a waiver of inadmissibility. If you know what a hardship waiver is, I talked about that in some other of my videos on YouTube, so you can check that out. But a waiver of inadmissibility is simply a way to avoid any deportation. So if you're married to a U.S. citizen or you have U.S. citizen children and you become deportable for whatever reason, you may be able to still get your green card regardless of that. So that's, in short, what that means, okay? So even a perfect application can get denied due to poor performance at the interview. And I've seen like literally a couple been together for 15 years, married for like 3 years, and they still got denied just simply because the beneficiary went to the interview and just he didn't want to answer some of the questions because he felt like they were intrusive. And I understand that, but being combative or refusing to answer questions from an agent who's deciding on your future isn't the wisest decision, in my opinion. But he didn't know, he wasn't prepared. He didn't realize that just because you're a U.S. citizen, right, that you are entitled to this green card, right? It's discretionary. The officers can just decide, you know what, you're doing too much. you're going to be denied. Even when you're even trying to act like the relationship is good, you're overacting. It's just not the right thing to do. So any red flags or any issues you have with your application, your interview is the opportunity to actually address those issues versus trying to assert any type of just stubbornness, basically. Just let that go. That's why you have attorneys. It's best for you to have an attorney with you if you're feeling unsure about the decision that would, come after for whatever reason. Maybe you overstayed, like this person who's watching me right now. I believe he came to our VIP session yesterday, and I believe he's here now. Who's just basically scared because he overstayed. Hasn't committed any crimes, but overstay, working unauthorized, those things can lead to inadmissibility. So you have to be prepared to answer questions about that. Okay. I know for a fact that one of the questions that's asked right now is, why did you overstay? And have you ever violated the terms of your immigration status? They will always ask you that. And usually the answer is yes. I had an interview prep with a client yesterday, and I asked the same question because we go over those questions in a mock type of interview pattern, right? And he said no, because he's thinking like the answer should be no, because if I say yes, maybe I'll get denied. But I'm like, I mean, did you enter with a visa? And he said no. I was like, did you work when you didn't have a work authorization? And he said yes. I was like, well, that's a violation. So as long as you're married to a citizen and you qualify for a waiver, you'll likely get the opportunity to file that waiver. But in this administration, I don't know if they're going to just what they're going to try to do right there and then, if they'll give you the opportunity to file or just deny you and you have to start over. Not sure, but you have to be honest with your response, okay? And be able to address the agent in the manner that is appropriate based on the personas. So there are 5 interview personas out of all the times I've been attending interviews. I got to learn a lot about the officers and their methods of questioning, which would determine a lot of things. Like the last interview I went to on, when was that? March 31st. It was very short because the interviewer she had the more personable approach, and that's the ones I prefer. Versus another one I went to, and she made us sit in silence for like 20 minutes. She just made it very tense and uncomfortable. And really, I think just with that alone, I'm not sure if she was testing us to see how we are going to react. I don't even know what the heck that was about. But the personas of who you're dealing with matters. So let's see the different ones here that we might find in a green card interview. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll try to answer as much as I can, but during the VIP session, you definitely get more detailed responses and preps and whatever you need to be ready, okay? All right, welcome in, Lizzie. Thanks for being here. Okay, so we have the detailed detective. This is just really like that officer. I don't even know why I don't remember her name. I think I wrote it down somewhere. Or maybe it's on the notice she gave us. But she was just not even smiling. Like I tried to, that's really the main thing I do once I get into the interview room, just to read the officer and try to act accordingly, right? So I smiled and was respectful, and she was just like, nope. Because she was the detailed detective. So it's important to know these things, know who you're dealing with. And then there's other people who will ask you a lot more questions about your relationship because they're just so interested in whether it's real. And this is a true story. Like I really need to get this attorney on here one of these days to join us in this training, because this is a real life story from an interview she attended. Right after the interview, she called me and said, the questions that my clients got today, I'm pretty sure they were getting a relationship tester. Because this question was just, I've never heard this in all my years of practice. And it was like, when was the last time you were intimate with your spouse? And by that, I mean, when was the last time you had sex? And I was like, what? And she said it exactly like that. And that's exactly how the agent asked this question. And I was like, what the heck are they doing right now in USCIS? Never been asked. It's not a requirement. I mean, some clients try to send me their nudes, and I'm like, listen, you don't have to send your nudes. There's other ways to prove that the relationship is real. But if the officers are out here asking when was the last time you had sex, they're definitely out here looking for people to deny. Because then, if you can't answer that question, and you've been saying you live together, and they find out you probably don't even live together because you can't answer that question, that's more issues. There's now misrepresentation during the interview, and yeah, you definitely don't want to be in that position. So I'll be prepared for anything. I'm teaching my clients now how to answer more of the security questions versus the relationship questions, because I believe that if you're not able to answer why you overstayed or violated your immigration status, that holds more weight if you at least already have evidence of a relationship. The last time we had sex should really not be an indication of whether the relationship is real or not. Like, that's just really besides the point. But hey, be ready if you want to succeed, and you don't get defensive like this other man that I told you about. He got defensive. They now came to his house to come and do a house check or whatever, and still ended up denying that case. I'm just still in awe because 15 years together? Are you joking? Like, it's definitely a real relationship, but they had a detailed detective, and that was just his fate there. And then there are people who are asking for documents, okay? Document demanders. This is another type of agent you're going to meet. As soon as they see you, the first thing they're going to say is, do you have extra documents to add to the case? And usually the answer should be yes, because from the time that you applied till now, a lot has changed. Either you filed new taxes, let's say you filed last year in 2024, now 2025 is past April or past the tax filing date, and it's expected that you already filed your recent tax. So you should have that with you at the interview. All right. And pictures, just things showing that you've been doing life together. Your bank statement should be commingled. You should have that showing all of that stuff you're doing together. Bank accounts by itself is just not enough. I had this one a client, and he ended up getting fired for this, because when I prepare you for something, you need to listen and not try to do it your own way, because you don't even know why I'm telling you this. Because if you open a bank account a week before your interview, you're going to get denied. They're going to raise a red flag for no reason. You need to wait. If you don't have a bank account right now and it's already time for interview, then just wait or do something else. Okay. Don't try to create emergency documents when you've had 2 years. Your application has been pending for 2 years, and it's now a week before the interview that you're going to open an account. After your attorney says don't do that, with all my years of experience, I know that doing things like that is just easy gateway to denial. So as much as we want to present documents, you need to present documents that make sense, not documents that raise red flags and make your case even more complicated. And honestly, if you're not following the easy method like I'm teaching, then we're not a good fit, because I want my clients to win. And during this live, I'm going to share some client testimonies. You can see how my clients are winning using this easy method, practicing with my interview prep guide, and just being ready. And before you know it, we're getting approvals left and right. It's not magic, it is strategy. You have to have sense. You have to make it make sense, and don't think that you know better than a professional who has been doing this with clients for over half a decade at this point. So let's go on to the next person. Oh, this kind. You know what? I don't even mind this persona of interviewer. This is the rapid fire questioner. Okay. this type of agent is going to finish you with questions. You're going to get asked all those questions in that I-45, and you should be ready to just answer honestly and quickly. Don't say too much, right? They'll ask you, have you ever committed a crime? Those questions are about 20 to or more. Actually, I think it's from number 20 on the I-45 form to like 67 or something. It's a series of questions that you already answer. So your first step in your preparation is just to pull out your I-45 that you submitted and start going over those questions. Like, what did you answer? Have you ever been arrested? Arrested doesn't even mean whether you got convicted of a crime. Have you ever been arrested? It's just that, yes or no. Okay. Because there's this other story that I heard about this client who well, have you ever been arrested? He said no, but then it turns out he had been in jail in another country prior to this, like 10 years ago. He stayed in jail for like 9 years or something. And when they asked, have you ever been arrested or committed a crime or blah, 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 he was like, no. We're like, bruh, that client also got fired. That wasn't my client, but that's an example of, if you're lying to your attorney, you're blocking your case. Nobody wants to deal with that, because we're out here trying to get clients to freedom, not to lie to the USCIS or present your case in a way that is just not effective. There's just no need to lie. Okay, there's really no need to lie. If something has happened, you're already misrepresented. They already know. So when they're asking you, if you're lying, you're just digging that hole even deeper. So be prepared to know everything about your history. If you've ever been arrested, that's why the first step in my easy method is super duper important. Examine your past records. You might have some pending arrests out there that you didn't even know about. So make sure you're checking your history before you go before any officer to go and lie. And if you don't know, the best response is just, I don't know, instead of making shit up. Because if you make stuff up, you're just messing up your case even more. So just say, I don't know, and try to answer as honestly as you can. They might separate you from your spouse, or you might be together, but whatever questions are coming at you, just try to answer short, give short answers, answer honestly, and just leave it at that. Okay. And there's the friendly facade. Well, I don't know if it's a facade, but honestly, some agents don't even really question you. They just come into the room if you're from their country, or maybe they're married to someone from your country, or they just somehow just like you. It's over. Yeah, you're getting approved. That's it. They will just laugh and to ask you about your hometown gist, and that's it. Those are the ones I like. Okay, not too much talk. Let's just get it pushed, especially when you can see the documents. They qualify. So what's all the jabajastics about? Yeah. So, but some of them use it as a game. They might act friendly, but then they will hit you with that denial, or maybe send you an RFE because they feel as though they just weren't confident in your answers or whatever. But you thought they were your friends, but they're not. USCIS agents rarely are your friends. So be mindful of that if you're dealing with an agent and answering these questions. So imagine your success. I want you all to take a moment right now to think about what it would be like if you come out of that office, out of that interview with your green card approval, right? Just imagine the weight off your shoulder with that, because most people are okay with sending that document, but once it's time to face an officer, I know I feel the same way when it's time to face a judge, but I'm prepared. I just go before with my evidence and do whatever. But once I think, just whenever it's time to face anyone that has authority to make a decision over something that you really want, it is nerve-wracking. Job interviews, nerve-wracking, because what if I get rejected? But with those ones, right, you have the options to just apply elsewhere, and it's not really, you're not paying any money to do that, compared to green card interview, where you spend $3,000 alone for forms alone, right? You spent a couple $1,000 just going through, or even time, because you went on YouTube, and it took months to put all that together. But Imagine just going through all that and then you now mess up at the interview, or your spouse says something that sabotages you. Because that's another thing too. Some people have abusive spouses. Let's not forget that. Your spouse will just go there and say one thing, and next thing you know, they separate you, stokes the view, or you're getting denied, and you're wondering what the F went wrong. Okay. A question here from Arrow. I'll just sneak in that answer before we get into the next thing, because I'm looking through what the information I have, and I'm just gonna keep it short because I think we'll just go over the rest at the VIP session. We're getting to our 30 minutes or so mark. So I want to keep this to 45 minutes today so we can save some info for the evening. But anyways, Arrow says, my wife lost her birth certificate and we only have the copy. How can we do? Are you asking about for the interview or to submit your application? Which one, Arrow? Because for the interview, you need to have, for the interview, you need to have the original. So if you don't have the original, maybe you need to request that one. Or do you have her passport? Because for proof of citizenship, if this is are you the U.S. citizen or the non-citizen? Like, which one is your wife? Because if it's a proof of citizenship, you can use your passport or your birth certificate. So it doesn't have to be your birth certificate, just so you know. Okay. Hope that helps. Okay. Lizzie, your interview is next week. What would you want to know? What do you want to prepare for when it comes to that? Well, feel free to ask here. We're going to go over the common preparation mistakes that most immigrants make before their interview. And if you can avoid some of these mistakes, like I said in the beginning, you have a higher chance of getting your results versus getting an RFE or even just getting denied at that point. Denial doesn't mean you can't apply again. Like I said, it's a lot of time and expense to take this for granted. I'm always so shocked when I hear people talk about how expensive it is to go for an attorney or just make any type of investment in something that is for their future. It's shocking because if you get denied, I mean, you can move back to your country, but I know you don't want to do that. That's why you're here going through all of this. So common preparation mistakes we could see is relying on generic questions online, just searching up questions like, because if you look online, what you'll see is questions about relationship. Most people don't focus on those security questions that I know is becoming a thing right now in 2025. So you're going to have to go with the times when you're prepping for your interview and also go with the type of case that you have. Do you live separately? Do you live together? Because if you're looking at generic questions, you're going to see stuff about maybe what's the color of the couch in your house, and then you freak out because you don't even live together. So you need to prepare for your own type of case. So if you don't live with your spouse, you most likely need to know answers about either how do you communicate, how often do you see your spouse, if you don't live together, and then why don't you live together? That was definitely a question in the interview that I attended in March. So be prepared for that. Holly Moses, thanks for joining. I see your question. I'm going to get to that in a little bit here. And remember to comment hashtag VIP so I can drop that link for those of you who want to talk with me one-on-one on Zoom later tonight. We're going on at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you join that session. If you're watching this as a replay because you opted in and you're getting all our emails, you can still join the VIP session because the link will be in the comments. So check that out and join. So Holly says, I have to follow. Do I have to follow my mom to the interview as her petitioner? Okay, great question, Holly. Thanks for asking during this Green Card Interview Mastery class. So for this interview, when it comes to a family-based application, you'll most likely be required to go with your mom because it's going to be about the relationship. They'll want to just ask you a few questions about that, even though it's so silly now for people going to that interview with their parents, because that relationship is, I mean, it is what it is, right? It's your mom, it's not even your dad. So you normally wouldn't have to even have an interview, but in 2025, if you're called for an interview, you will be required to go as the petitioner, just like a spouse would, okay? All right, so for those of you on TikTok, the link is going to be in my bio to join the VIP session. For those of you on Facebook and YouTube or LinkedIn, the link will be in my comments. So you can join the VIP session, okay? It's a free session. It's for around 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how the questions are going. Yesterday, we stayed for quite a while. Thanks to my team. Thank you all for staying extra hours to answer these questions, because it is important, even more so in 2025, to know exactly how to answer questions at your green card interview and be ready for success, because anybody got time for that, okay? So many applicants will struggle with those generic questions, and they'll go over there trying to be memorized like robots and saying stuff that don't even make sense, okay? Because if you try to memorize your response, it's going to come off as fake, and fake means marriage fraud means denied. So don't be fake. If you don't know, say you don't know. You know, they'll ask you something else. There's so many ways to get the answers that you're looking for. So don't make things complicated for yourself by just making stuff up and being robotic about it. Be a human being. They're human beings too. Okay, so they need to see that. They need to see your relationship, you know, hold hands, but not too much, right? Don't be like making out or something, because then they'll be like, okay, denied. Like, you're trying too hard to convince me that the marriage is real. Just be normal, okay? All right, what next? People struggle with focusing on other parts of the interview prep, and maybe they just look at only the forms. They don't get the documents together, and they just get those questions. They're like, yeah, let's memorize the questions. You know, when did we meet? When was our first date? Who proposed to who? All those ones, right? And they neglect other parts of the preparation, like knowing the time that it is, like setting that up. Who's going to babysit your kids? Like, what's the thing about, right? Do we need to reschedule? Like, figure out all that stuff as well, because the logistics matter. If you're late, you're denied. If you don't show up, you're denied, okay? So focus on preparing in whole, not just the forms. Don't freak out. And don't freeze, for goodness sake, you know? I never freeze. If you know that reference, let me know where it's from in the comments. Okay, never freeze, because why? If you don't know the answer, just say, I don't know. I don't remember. Don't act. It's not a test where you're being graded. It is important, right? And that's why you're here preparing, but you don't need to make up any answers or be shocked. Just tell them to ask you something else. And when you have an attorney present, we can most likely help you or help the officer guide you to the right answer with the right questions. Because sometimes it's just a matter of just being confused about what they're saying, okay? Because I remember some interview I attended some years ago in 2021. They were asking something about a carpet and a rug, and it was just some basic question, but this man was just so confused about carpet and rug, because in his country, I think those words are interchangeable, and it was, what was the color of your carpets? Like something silly. Like, why are you guys asking this? But, you know, anyway, that's what it is. Yeah, you're very welcome, Holly. I'm glad you're here today, watching with us. And what has changed since Trump got in? This is L asking. What has changed is really the need for interviews now in 2025. That's one of the biggest changes we're seeing. It is a policy change. I don't think it's an official policy change, but an agent confirmed to me that they're going to be calling everyone now. So for Holly, in the past, she wouldn't have had to go for an interview because she's applying for her mom. Okay, she is petitioning for her mom to become a permanent resident. But in 2025, Holly is going for an interview. Anyone can get it. So don't freeze, just answer naturally. And if you're feeling stressed out and confused about what is going to happen next and what's going on right now, especially with all the changes, it's not your fault because this system was really designed this way. I'm lucky enough to have gotten my green card and my citizenship when I was pretty young. So I didn't really experience a lot of the things that many of my clients experience in terms of waiting for a work permit and just like being stuck, feeling stuck. So the government is not out here to help you. There's no specific green card interview guide out there. There is a U.S. citizenship guide, but that's really a whole different thing because it's just telling you questions about how many people are in the House of Reps or something about politics and all that type of stuff. It's not really to guide you on how to answer or why they're even asking you certain things. So in this training, and if you stay connected to our community, you're going to learn exactly what it takes to excel at these interviews without any type of confusion or fear. Just be confident because confidence is really half of the win. Okay. Getting conflicting advice online definitely doesn't make it easy. And, if you're connected to a service like my law firm, we offer interview prep, but it is optional because not everyone can actually go for that service. You may be able to fund your initial application, but when it comes to interview prep or interview attendance, not everyone's able to have access to that. So with this free training that I'm having right now, you can just prepare knowing that you're getting the best information that you can from a professional, right? That is answering all your questions live right now. So you can hear different scenarios and whichever ones can apply to you, you can go with that. And if you need that additional consultation or one-on-one conversation to clarify what you're learning today, just join the VIP session, okay? So I've seen a lot of hashtag VIPs here, so be prepared to join us at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time today, where we're going to answer you even in a more intimate environment, okay? All right, so right now, this is one of my interview guides that I have. If you all are in the Facebook group, you're probably seeing me right now sharing this on my screen. It is my 100th practice question guide, okay? This was one of the first ones I had in 2021. So there's a new edition for 2025, which has more security questions, but you can tune in. You can check out my link in the bio for my Facebook group where you can find this version. It still has a lot of great questions, right? Yeah, but the updated one is definitely what you will need for 2025 support, just because it has those security questions there. So let me see if I can see one of the questions in this older edition. We can talk about here. Oh, I need that. How do I make this? Oh, yeah. Okay, finances, that's one of the categories, because if you are in a marriage situation, they want to see commingled finances, okay? So one of the questions I see here is about finances. So who pays the bills? Do you know the answer to that one? Who pays the bills? And even further, how is the bill even paid? Like, do you have a credit card, a joint account? That's why I said it's important that a joint account has usage in it and not just a joint account, okay? Because there's no point in that. All right. Taxes, life insurance, things like that, they'll ask you about, okay? And I want you to know that you can succeed even in 2025 with all the changes. You still can win. I just shared a video about one of my clients who just got her 10-year green card for her and her 2 children. So it's still possible in 2025, even though they came in on a tourist visa and stayed and adjusted the status. And, it was a whole switch with her case, but she still got approved because her marriage was real. She was able to answer clearly. She knew her immigration history, so when they asked her questions about why she stayed, she knew exactly how to answer. Because some people might start saying things like, "Oh, things were hard in my country, so I just didn't want to go back," and then that will definitely be misrepresentation, because when you came in at the border, you said you were coming for vacation. So what's good? Okay, so do you see how answering like that can lead to potential denial? Does that make sense? So I hope that today you'll be taking away some real life examples and some tips that will help you succeed today. You can answer with confidence if you practice. Okay, you can overcome any past immigration issues. Like I said, there is the hardship waiver for you. Okay, you can always anticipate what the officer is going to ask as well, because you know all their different personas. So if they're coming with the questions, just know, okay, this one is a question detective. Okay, you just want to really get in there. If they get too personal, don't take it personally. Okay, it's just them. That's just their style. Sometimes they want to rattle you. And if they can rattle you and you start acting up, then okay, you're getting denied, because it's discretionary. They don't have to approve you. Okay, so be mindful of that. Make sure you are ready and you can anticipate anything that's coming. Okay, so interview success formula. I think that's what we're going to end today, because we are getting to it's so juicy, guys. I know it is juicy. We're getting to that 45-minute mark, and today we have some upcoming consultations after this training. So I want to prepare for that. But I'm thankful that you all are here today and asking questions, participating, and sharing this with your friends. And I know that I'll see you this evening at the VIP session. So thank you for coming in. But really, the interview success formula is really just getting prepared, getting all your documents together ahead of time, and being ready to answer any questions like we've been discussing. Don't act surprised. Just say you don't know. Don't make stuff up. Just say you don't know. Okay? So tomorrow, we're going to answer more questions about your interview prep. This entire training will be finalized tomorrow. Is really focused on making sure you understand everything we've been going over from day one. Okay, so come with your questions, come ready, and you're going to be happy and satisfied that you've done everything that you could and you're ready to ace that interview. Okay, so hashtag VIP if you're ready to join us today on the Zoom. All right. So comment ready to succeed if you're ready to ace your green card interview. If you're already feeling confident just by watching this training today and you know that you can do it, comment I'm ready. And let me know your favorite tip that you learned today on how you can ace your green card interview. I'm excited for the VIP session. I want to make sure that everyone is A-okay. In this 2025, one of the calls I got today was just someone who was about to travel, a U.S. citizen, still freaking out about whether he could, whether he'll be allowed to come back in. At this point, I'm like, there's just no time where immigrants are feeling secure, except you have someone who is teaching you the strategies that will keep you out of trouble and keep you on the right track to succeeding. So no need to freak out. Just come to our sessions, join our Facebook group. There's over 28,000 people there, other immigrants just like you, are going through the same process, asking questions, getting results, getting support. So you don't have to do it alone. And if you missed the intro in the beginning, I'm going to let you know again that I am attorney Ify, immigration attorney. As you can see here, I serve clients nationwide with their family-based immigration issues. So reach out to me. My number is on the screen, and let's get you started on the right track with your immigration success, with your green card success, okay? So give me a heart in the comments if you're feeling happy and satisfied for today. Thanks for the fire emojis. Y'all are awesome. Thank you very much. All right, I'll see you in the next session. And if you haven't received your workbook or your guide or anything that you have signed up for, maybe you haven't signed in yet, just check the description for the ways to get your free resources to practice before your interview day, okay? All right, it's been great. Have a wonderful rest of your day.